Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back in the gym. I got this dead cat on me because it's a little windy. The kids are home, so they're causing a ruckus, so we can't film inside. But back in the gym, and in today's video, guys, I got a fun one for you guys. It's gonna be one of the oldest parts of town. Of course, it's Old Town, right? According to the title, right? Pros and cons of living in Old Town. Some good things, some bad things, but I'm sure that overall, we're gonna get through this list and it's gonna change your mind about what's going on down there. So hang tight, grab your pen and your pad, and let's go. Now, if you are thinking about moving to Albuquerque and you are thinking about moving to areas like Old Town, North Valley, the South Valley, the Northwest, any of these parts of town, I just gotta let you guys know, thanks for tuning in to this channel. Hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys never miss out on any videos, because I am dropping videos every week talking about all these great areas here in Albuquerque. And we're going to be branching off into these other cities and suburbs of Albuquerque, so stay tuned for that. But if you are thinking about moving down here within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, and I help a ton of people, and I've been helping a ton of people for a few years now, move in and all around Albuquerque and some parts outside of Albuquerque. And if you are that type of person, or you are that person looking to move here, that number popping up on the screen, not this one, this is an old number, but this one popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to write it down, take a screenshot, pause the video, rewind it back if you missed it. That way we can hop on a quick Zoom call and talk about all these different areas and talk about your wants and needs, especially when moving down here to Albuquerque. And we'll hop on this call with my team to make sure that you guys are never alone every single step of the way. But today, guys, I'm going to be going into Old Town, talking about all the great things that it has to offer and some things that I personally just dislike about the area. So hang tight, grab your pen and your pad, like I said before. Sweet Starbucks run. Nice. Love it, love it, love it. Well, guys, I mean, aside from the Starbucks that's down the street on Rio Grande, you're also going to be living in an area with less than 1,500 people, a population of 1,500 people in that area there alone. And it's really going to be a mix of homeowners and renters, really 50-50 in that area, just because they've been grandfathered in into the whole casita era. So you may have a main house and then the casita in the back that, you know, a lot of people are renting. And for majority, a lot of those people that have been renting those casitas have been there forever. And some of those homeowners have been there forever. Legacy homes throughout that area. And it's very common to rent into a house. And I just recently sold a house down there, and they were like, yeah, my parents built this house back in the 20s. And when I went to go look for information, there was nothing done as far as surveys or ownership or anything like that until the 50s. So very common to rent a house down there where the families have lived in it for generations, and it's just been passed down from one person to another. But really a ton of things to do down there, from the local coffee bars, breweries, shopping, the shop and stroll right there in Old Town. And then if you want to get outdoors and enjoy some of the outdoors, you have the Bosque trails. My favorite, of course, Tingley Beach, and it's pretty much year-round fishing because they stock the ponds, the two or three ponds. So you have the kid pond, the main pond, and then the catch and release pond that they just stock year-round with trout, bass, catfish, carp, all that stuff. I mean, the carp in there have been there for years, and they're just massive. I'm not a big carp fan, so for you carp enthusiasts out there, we got it here. But if you do want to enjoy the canal fishing up and down the Bosque Trail, you want to ride bikes, all that stuff, it's in that neighborhood as well. But a lot of people are moving over there because, number one, it's centrally located, and the history that is just in those areas is impeccable, right? You got the old buildings there in Old Town and all the little houses and casitas all around there. And believe it or not, there's still some people that live in Old Town in some of those houses that were first built. But they're going to be that Southwest adobe style, and I'll kind of get into that. But let's get right into the pros of everything here. Now that I've given you a bit of kind of an overview of what to expect, I'm going to dive into some details. So let's go. All right, guys. Now, pro number one on this list here is going to be the vibe down there. The vibe is urban and suburban. You're going to have the best of both worlds. So if you want to live in a kind of a planned area, you can. Or if you just want to live in that urban kind of condo, apartment, or just a townhome kind of feeling where it's centrally located within the city, you're going to be able to do that here in Old Town. And you're just going to be smack dab right next to a bunch of stuff like the Bosque Trails, the Rio Grande, Sawmill District, the Country Club with all its fancy homes and luxury style homes that are in that area. And my favorite, like I told you, Tingley Beach. So you can't beat that. And you also are going to have like the biopark and the zoo right down the street from you. And if you don't want to do that and you want to enjoy a nice bite to eat, they have like the Noisy Waters Winery, the Old Town Pizza, and Antiquity for all the kind of like the bougie people that like to eat the small plates. Not my style, but they also have the High Noon, which is dressed up like it was back in the day as an old Western bar. So ton of things to do down there. You have T-Wix Park as well, which is a massive park, and they're always doing stuff down there. And then you have the Natural History Museum and Explorer for the kiddos. So a bunch of things in that area. Very easy and very family orientated living, especially if you are thinking about living in these old remnant parts. And the three conglomerates there is, like I said, Sawmill in that area. It's going to be more of like that urban condo, commercial buildings turned into living areas, and townhomes, that kind of deal there. And then in Old Town, believe it or not, there's still some homes in that area that people are living in. And sometimes they get into fights with the city because, hey, they've lived there forever and they are stuck in their ways. You know, you can kind of tell the age group of people that are living in that area, and they don't want to either sell, move, or do whatever, because the city is really trying to make that more of a tourist area, kind of pushing out the residents so they can take advantage of that income, right? Because the Old Town, believe it or not, is just super touristy, and we'll get into that. But the Country Club, aside from, Old Town, the Country Club just has a bunch of luxury homes, so you are going to pay more for that. And then in this next pro, I'm bringing up it being a little bit more expensive, but believe it or not, sometimes you'll find affordable homes in that Country Club area that is right next to the big dog park, Tingley Beach, and all the different amenities there. All right, guys, pro number two, getting right into it, the affordability down there in Old Town. According to niche.com, the average price home is around $307K. And then the average rent is about $1,000. Looking at it as a whole, Albuquerque in total, the average price home is about $350. So not terrible for a historical place that has a bunch of different amenities all around it. And it's just getting revitalized and coming up with a bunch of different things to do that more people are flocking over there. So I can expect the price to kind of range up a little bit more over the next couple of years. And really with the older homes and people really kind of flocking to that historical kind of sense of an Adobe style Southwest home, it's just becoming more popular to move down there. And especially with that, right? The opportunities that come from people who lived in those legacy homes and now they've moved on, or their loved one just passed away and they want nothing to do with the home because they live in another state, is presenting a lot of opportunity for locals when they do get that chance, right? Which is very few. So I don't want to bank on that, but when it does arise, you can tell that some of those homes are selling super fast. Now, a lot of condos and apartments are getting, put up and revitalized all along that strip right there on Central and Rio Grande. So be aware of that if you do want to live in that kind of urban style feel and you want to be able to walk to all these different bars, restaurants, and, things to do around that area, you are going to be able to do that. Or if you want to move your family down there, very possible, very doable. And some of the homes in the Country Club are going to be close to that $1 million range. Sometimes they get around that 500,000 area, even below that. I've seen some go just recently for close to about 400. They needed some work, they needed some love, but that doesn't take away from where you're at because you're really paying for the area. And that Country Club area, I mean, for holidays now that it's getting closer to Christmas, in Halloween, they just kind of shut the whole block down, make it really easy for kiddos to go up and down the street to get the full-size candy bars, because you can imagine these bougie neighborhoods, a lot of those people are giving legit candy bars, not those little tiny ones, chincing out on the kiddos or giving fruits and stuff like that. They're giving legit candy bars. And now for the holidays, they close down the street and really, I don't want to say force, but a lot of the people in that Country Club neighborhood participate in what is called the Luminaria kind of display. And right for the holidays, they'll close down the street to allow the people of Albuquerque to really cruise through there, see all the beautiful Luminaria displays, shut down the lights, And it's something that you're going to want to experience, especially if you are moving down here, because it's beautiful, right? Now, big debate. I just had it with a recent client of mine that moved down here. Is it Luminaria or is it Foralito? I'll let you guys decide. All right, last pro on this list. So it's centrally located, right? So that's a huge thing because, like I've talked about it before, getting over the river at any time of day sometimes could be a nightmare. And there's really many different ways to navigate yourself to this side of town. It doesn't matter if you're crossing the river or not, but if you are crossing the river, several ways to get over it, several different ways to get home, which is a huge plus. And especially being centrally located, there's always going to be something to do down there, whether it's like the River of Lights, the shop and stroll now in Christmas time, the lighting of the Old Town tree, which is something you got to see because they put this massive tree in Old Town, and when they light it up, it's a really cool experience. And we are super festive of the holidays, so there's always going to be something to do down there, whether it's a market, whether Sawmill does something or Old Town does something. Being centrally located, there's always something to do in that area. So if you like to be social, even if you don't like to be social and you want to be an introvert, but you do enjoy, people watching and all that stuff, this is going to be a great place for you. If you want to live on a side of town where it's easily navigatable, being centrally located, top priority. Let's get on a phone call. Again, that number popping up on the screen, guys, is my direct line. Let's figure out what side of Old Town is going to fit your needs best. Is it going to be the country club, the Sawmill district, or just any other neighborhood that's close to there? All right, now I talked about a few good things, and I got to put the cons in here. And really leading off of being centrally located, it's going to be a little bit busier in Old Town, especially for holidays. The parking is going to be all around that neighborhood. Sometimes they even block off the streets and people put cones and stuff to make sure that they don't even block their driveways. So be aware of that sometimes you may run into those busy seasons where, because it is touristy, those holidays, and especially for Balloon Fiesta, where you got, close to about 500,000 people, even more, that come into town to see the balloons go up for a week. So there's always just going to be something going on in those neighborhoods, especially it being centrally located and it being the main bus route system for a lot of people. You are going to experience that there are going to be more people, walking through the neighborhoods or just trying to get to and from one part of the city to the other. So keep that in mind, that it is busy. Sometimes it gets congested. Parking sometimes sucks, especially if you are living in that Old Town Plaza area. So keep that in mind. If that doesn't bother you, hey, and you are a social person, like I said, if you're looking to get more out there, make new friends, and meet new people, this is going to be a perfect area for you guys. All right, so con number 2 on this list is that it's going to be a hot area. It's going to be one of the hottest areas in Albuquerque just because of all the tourist people that come down here. They just fall in love with the area because it's southwestern, it's old school, it's quaint, quiet. You got that vibe of just hometown still very alive in those areas. So aside from like the holidays and markets and all that stuff of it being busy, it's just going to be a place where people are flocking more to just because of all the different conveniences and amenities that are over there, from the shopping, restaurants, the museums, and just places that you can just hang around in without having to spend a whole lot of money, like Tingley Beach. And then you also have all the parks in that area. So if that's, going to be a bother to you, you are not a social person, you are very introverted, I warn you. But if you are a very social person and you don't mind getting out and just meeting new people, and that's your jam and that's your jelly, and that's how you kind of get your energy back, this is going to be a perfect spot for you because there's always a revolving door of people just coming through there, from people from all over the United States, people from out of town, or just, locals that never really get out and they wanted to go and experience something that, was a little bit more chillax, more, on the low key. This is going to be a hot area just even for that. All right, so nothing against old, but Old Town is just old, right? And that's the last con on this list, guys. And really, you're gonna have to keep that in mind if you are thinking about moving to Old Town, is that a lot of the buildings, a lot of the houses down there haven't been touched or changed in years, just for the sake of, number one, it's a historical area, So sometimes, changing the face of the property or changing a lot of the property might get the historical landmark people involved. And from what I hear, they're a pain to deal with. Nothing against them, because they are keeping that essence of the old Albuquerque and the historical sense of what it used to be back in the day alive. And tenfold, it is awesome to still have that vibe down there, because it draws a lot of people into that old quaint hometown feel. And when you are walking even in Old Town and you see some of the old buildings, you're walking on that hardwood floor, it creaks and makes all these different noises. It makes you feel a certain type of way. I don't know, it gives me like a home feel vibe, and I just feel cozy, quaint, and like I don't want to ever leave. So there's something about the energy down there that just makes you feel at home, which is awesome, because I know back in the days, historically, Albuquerque, went through a lot of hardship, a lot of, negative stuff, and to have that feeling nowadays in modern time is awesome, especially with all the people that are getting brought into these areas and enjoying what we have to offer. So a bit of a con that it's old, and majority of the time you are going to find the Southwest style home over there, so a lot of adobe, unless you live in the country club, because a lot of the country club, a lot of those people, a lot of that neighborhood was built closer to like the 60s and the 70s. Keep that in mind, that it's really going to differ on what part of town you're living on. Sawmill, commercial, industrial feel, Old Town Plaza, Old Southwest, adobe homes, and then the country club closer to the biopark and stuff is going to be a lot, more of a frame style home. So a lot of things you can change there. You might have to get the historical property people involved. You might not. I don't know. It just varies from house to house. All right, guys. Now, I went over a few things that you're going to want to think about if you are planning on moving down to Old Town, and whether you're wanting to move to a historical place or you want to be just centrally located, kind of in the middle of all the action that goes around here in Albuquerque. That number popping up on the screen is my direct line. And as much as I love doing this, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. So if you are thinking of purchasing a house down in that area or anywhere else in Albuquerque, feel free to hit me up. That way we can hop on a quick call and talk about all these different areas. But aside from that, I'm gonna head inside. I just got my Starbucks, because again, the kids are inside making a ruckus. It's it's the day before Veterans Day, so you guys are seeing this, a couple of hours after that I actually shot it and put it all together. So here in Albuquerque right now, the weather is getting colder, clouds are rolling in, and so is the wind. Again, that's why I got this dead cat on me. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm. Hit me up. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you guys. So peace.